So was man a creature created by God, or are we just the result of evolution? This question came to the head in Dayton, Tennessee in 1925, when a 24-year-old science teacher named John Thomas scopes the thought of evolution to his class.
On May 12, 1925, William Jennings Bryan agrees to participate in the trial on the side of the prosecution, ensuring that the case will receive significant national interest. Several days later, well-known attorneys Clarence Darrow and the Dudley Field Malone announced their interest in the prosecuting
representing Scopes.
On May 25 of 1925, Scopes is directed by a grand jury for violating Tennessee's anti-evolution law. Between May and July of 1925, preparations began in Dayton for the expected onslaught of trial-related publicity. 6 blocks of Dayton's main road are transformed into a pedestrian mall. A speaker's platform is built on the lawn of the courthouse, and a tourist camp is constructed. The courtroom is outfitted with the latest technology to transmit the story to the world. Telegraph and telephone wiring, movie, newsreel, camera, platforms, and radio microphones. WGN Radio broadcasts the trial live at the cost of more than $1,000 a day just for the telephone lines. This was the first broadcast of its kind. July 10th, 1925, the trial begins with jury selection. July 13th, 1925. In an effort to have the Butler Law declared unconstitutional, defense attorney Clarence Darrow delivers a long, fiery search arguing that the law violates freedom of religion. July 14th, 1925. In the third day of the trial, Darrow objects to the practice of opening the trial with a prayer. July 15th, 1925. Judge Ralston overrules the defense's motion to have the Butler Law declared unconstitutional. In an afternoon session that day, a not guilty plea is entered on Scopes' behalf. Each side presents its opening statements. The prosecution questions of the superintendent of the schools and 2 of the Scopes students, who testified that Scopes taught his class about evolution. The defense questions zoologist Maynard Metcalf, who testifies that evolution is widely embraced theory of the scientific community. July 17, 1925, Judge Ralston rules in favor of the motion by prosecutors to bar expert testimony by science. Many reporters leave town believing that the trial is effectively over. Scopes is recruited to write new stories on the trial for some of the delinquent journalists. July 20th, 1925, with the proceedings taking place outdoors due to the heat, the defense, in a highly unusual move, calls Bryan to testify as a biblical expert. Clarence Darrow asks Bryan a series of questions about whether the Bible should be interpreted literally. July 21st, 1925. The final day of the trial opens with Judge Ralston's ruling that Bryan cannot return to the stand, and that his testimony should be expunged from the record. Ralston's declaring that Bryan's testimony, quote, can shed no light upon any issue that will be pending before the higher courts, end quote. Darrow then asked the court to bring to the jury the find Scopes guilty, a move that would allow a higher court to consider an appeal. The jury returns its guilty verdict after 9 minutes of deliberation. Scope is fined $100. After the verdict is read, John Scopes delivers his only statement of the trial, declaring his intent, quote, to oppose this law in any way I can. Any other action would be in violation of my ideal and academic freedom. That is, to teach the truth as guaranteed in our Constitution of personal and religious freedom, end quote. This trial, only a week long, opened the door for evolution in schools, which is still a raging battle to this very day.